What's going on there, folks? Good morning, good afternoon. It is the Earthmaster back here on this Monday. I know it's Monday, but hey, we can get through the work week, and Friday is no doubt right around the corner once again. Latest activity shows a 1.8 here on this Monday, November 20th, 2023. It's about 11:36 a.m. Forgot to mention that. All right, we do have some developing information here from the Icelandic Met Office. They just put out an update earlier this morning, and the wording on this is a little on the sketchy side, but there's definitely some clear evidence of uplift kicking off here around the Svartsengi area. Now, looks like about 700 earthquakes or so have been detected near the Magma intrusion since about midnight. The largest appears to be a 2.7. Now, they did put out a little chart here showing the vertical displacement well over 30 mm around the Svartsengi area. That includes areas of the Blue Lagoon and the power plant. Now, most of this elevated activity is definitely north of the Grindavik region of Iceland, but that's a little on the scary side because it looks as though this eruption potential is going to take place here across the area of the Blue Lagoon. Let's see what these guys have to say here. If I can keep my voice. Change in weather. Had some rain over the past couple days. Now it's sunny and dry and a strong north wind. Not a big fan of this drying out wind. All right. So in recent days, between about 1,500 and 1,800 daily earthquakes have been measured in the region, with the largest registering a magnitude 3.0. Now, based on radar imagery from the past couple days here, the latest interferogram of the magma intrusion and the surrounding area shows significant crustal uplift in the vicinity of the Svartsengi region. Now, once again, this is going to be, let me pull up the Google Earth view. That's going to be specifically this area right here, right where the Blue Lagoon and the power plant station is. Little scary. The newly processed interferogram was reviewed by experts during the weekend. That's over this weekend here from the Icelandic Meteorological Office and a bunch of other folks here. The results were also discussed in today's meeting. All right, the rapid ongoing uplift close to the Svartsengi is occurring in the same area where uplift was measured before the magma intrusion formed back in the 10th of this month. Geodetic models derived from satellite imagery shows that the uplift in Svartsengi area is considerably faster than before. Generally, when magma intrusion forms, subsidence occurs above the center line of the intrusion, as seen in the Grindavik area. Remember, we had the uplift there around that town, and then deflation followed the uplift, with signs of land uplift discernible adjacent to the intrusion. Crustal uplift in the Svartsengi region due to magma accumulating at depth has been measurable since the intrusion began back on the 10th of November. Initially, the uplift sign was influenced by the formation of the intrusion, but now the dominance of deep magma recharge is apparent. Look at that imagery right here. This is from the 18th to the 19th, well over 30 mm, and the majority of it right there around the Svartsengi area, and that's including the Svartsengi Power Plant. And the Blue Lagoon is where most of this activity is stirring up out here. And that's a broad region of uplift. Goodness. We're starting to see that spread out quite a bit. Now, I pulled up the older map here from the 28th to the 6th. Back when this started to get a little attention here. We noticed a little vertical displacement, inflation going on here near the Svartsengi area. And well, this was kind of when it kicked up here. This was definitely well over 60 mm, it looks like, but in that same general area. But now it looks like we're getting a wider region of magma intrusion below, more magma. That's kind of why I'm thinking this could be a little along the lines of something much bigger than what Iceland has seen in recent times. And that's not a good case, not a good scenario if this is taking place right near that power plant, right underneath it, I should say. The clear sign of crustal uplift in the Svartsengi region does not change the likelihood of an eruption from the magma intrusion. This is assessed, amongst other things, on the fact that Earth's crust over the magma intrusion is much weaker than the crust over the uplift region. Now, their magma intrusion area, let's see if I still have it on Google Earth. I don't. But I had a line drawn up here. I'm not going to go through that right now, but it's roughly the magma intrusion level runs somewhat offshore here up through the Grindavik area, and then near the Hagafell region northeastward. There's about a 15-kilometer length of intrusive magma below the surface. And they're stating that this region right here is weaker, right? So we should see the eruption take place in this area, not over here where we're seeing that most of that uplift, but that's just their observation. And now it's potential we could definitely see some fissures open up here, even in that thicker area, if things continue to go as they are going right now with that vertical displacement and uplift there across the region of the Svartsengi area. So let's read this again. This is assessed, amongst other things, on the fact that the Earth's crust over the magma intrusion is much weaker than the crust over the uplift region close to Svartsengi. As long as there is not significant seismicity in the Svartsengi region, there is not a high likelihood of an eruption at that location. Moreover, an eruption is still deemed more likely from the intrusion, and more so if there is, say, a larger flow of magma underneath this area. So the weaker area of the crust, supposedly, the Grindavik area, that's why we're seeing a lot of roads damage out there, uplift and not potholes, but sinkholes forming out around this area. That's due to the inflation and then followed up by the deflation event that's occurring out here around the magma intrusion area. So obviously weaker crust areas out here amongst the Grindavik region and northeastward towards the Hagafell area. But now with this, this newer development, this newer activity stirring up here around the Svartsengi area, where we're seeing this region show some considerable uplift, we have to keep an eye on earthquake activity out there. Just like they mentioned, they don't think it's going to be a likelihood of an eruption out there unless we see earthquake activity. But obviously some swelling's going on out there. Magma is accumulating underneath this region there. Today's activity here, earthquake activity, this is the last 12 hours, 93 earthquakes, and you can see where the main magma intrusion event is occurring around the Grindavik area, northeastward around the Hagafell. Not a whole lot over here, specifically around the Svartsengi area, where we're seeing that considerable uplift take place today or over the past couple days. But we will watch that. And as they mentioned in their wording right there, unless we see a bunch of earthquake activity in that region, they claim that there's not really a potential for eruption in that area. But goodness, that is quite a bit of magma and uplift accumulating close to this region, well, underneath this area. Definitely visible. Let's see if there's anything else here. But then again, like I said, if we see a considerable flow of magma, large inflow of magma into this area, we looking at a couple different scenarios. One around the northeastern area of Grindavik, around the Hagafell area, or we could see potentially, maybe along with earthquake activity, seeing this get activated. Let's see here. So this is actually a pretty informational statement here that they put out today. They skipped yesterday. That's probably due to their meetings and whatnot that was going on, and talk about the deep inflation that's taken place. Looks like about 5 kilometers or so. So bigger magma intrusion coming on, it looks like. So if we see the fissures open up here, say around the Grindavik area northeastward, and there's further magma intrusion underneath this area. This could go on and on for quite a while, as far as the eruptive stage goes, if we get to that. Definitely an interesting ordeal here that's taking place, but right now, no eruption, but considerable clear evidence of uplift in the Svartsengi area. That includes the Blue Lagoon area and the power plant. Whole area a little unstable right now. And these guys, the wording, still high likelihood of volcanic eruption continues, folks. So we'll continue to check back on that. There's a little earthquake there on Petrolia. I'm not able to get the new, not New Zealand, but the Iceland station up here working. I'll have to add a couple more stations on here and see if I can pull back up that one I was monitoring for earthquake activity. Pretty good idea to keep an eye on the earthquake activity that's occurring out here now. See if we get any migration towards the that power plant area. But obviously, swelling going on, a lot of magma coming up from below, a lot. All right, let's go ahead and look at the latest earthquake activity around the globe. The Atlantic Ocean, aside from that, according to the USGS, is clear, calm, nothing above the 4.0 threshold out there for now. Let's go ahead and look at the last 24 hours. Largest magnitude does show that earthquake there in Japan from yesterday. As far as today's timestamp goes, it looks like we did have a 4.9 over here, north of the Dominica area, St. John's, Caribbean plate. This here is a major subduction zone area. Right now, though, it looks like they did have a 4.9. Well, this was earlier this morning. That area is capable of producing some large earthquakes. Not for sure how long it's been since we've seen a mega quake out here, but a little 4.9 stirring things up in this area this morning. Far as the rest of the map goes, let's check out the states here. California did see some activity stirring up out on the southern end of the Cascadia, off of this plate boundary. Here's a subduction zone, the Cascadia megathrust area. We did have a 4-pointer out there yesterday into the Gorda Escarpment, Gorda Ridges area. That, along with the tremor out here. Let me show you guys the tremor from last night. 119 episodes, or epicenters of tremor, mainly down here in the southern end of the Cascadia. I think that's what's causing the elevated movement out here in the past couple days. Got to pull up the last 7 days and see a handful of earthquakes out here. But tremor has been pretty consistent, mainly around this area, but it does look like we're adding some further strain out here in Northern California. And even with this very minimal movement, I consider this very minimal because, well, we've seen in days past and years past here where we can see hundreds, if not over 1,000 tremors in one day. And it's been a little while since we've seen that. Back in October of last year. We did see a little bit here this year, back in May and I think April, but nothing like we had seen before on a regular pattern. So definitely, I believe some stresses up here across Northern California. Southern end specifically, it looks like, because any kind of tremor that's going on there is creating some earthquake activity up towards the surface level. So we'll keep an eye on that area of Northern California here for some potential more movement. That's at 2.4. That did show up on this seismograph station right here near Petrolia. Pretty nicely, actually. Flatlined the seismograph station. I'm going to be adjusting these here after this update. I'll add some more stations on there. And more specifically, the Iceland station, if I can get a hold of it. So, let's see. Lake Tahoe, a little earthquake underneath that from yesterday. Nothing big, just a little 0.4. There is some fault systems that do run underneath that lake. The rest of California here, spotty movement. I don't think we've seen anything above 2.5 down here. It looks all like microquake activity across Southern Cal. Been pretty quiet down there in terms of typical background activity. Just, goodness, very quiet. 2.2 Yellowstone early this morning. So let's see what we have going on there across the Yellowstone map. This is the overview of Yellowstone National Park, and there we go. Here's the outline, the overlay of the seismographs with Lake Yellowstone here on the map, and the Yellowstone caldera here in the black shaped oval feature. That is a huge caldera, and that is, of course, the super volcano. And nothing big going on, nothing to worry about. Just very minimal earthquake activity. There's some of that movement that we've seen on the USGS map. Maple Creek area looks to be the source of the epicenter, or the epicenter area from some of these smaller quakes going on up there in the last 24 hours. Quite a few oil fields getting hit out here once again in the state of Texas. And they're really close to, it looks like some type of solar farm out there as well. But throughout this area of Texas, you can zoom in and see these little ponds out here, these wastewater injection facilities. Wastewater pond. There's just a lot out here in Texas. Has been rocking and rolling lately with earthquake activity. Hawaii, what's going on out here? Well, looks like Kilauea Volcano still having a lot of earthquake activity. One earthquake in the last hour, 3.2, 6 kilometers deep there, just to the southeast of the Kilauea Volcano. Let's see what's going on out there in the Pacific. Latest informational statement here is put out from the HVO and shows that the Kilauea Volcano is currently not erupting. And basically the same thing as what they've been stating, that the continued activity, the earthquake activity and inflation there looks like it's continuing. And of course, the magma activity that's occurring underneath this region is coming and going. That's why we're seeing that inflation activity. But the eruptive activity could occur in the near future with little or no warning. SO2 emissions remain normal for now. Let's check out the tilt meter, see what's going on. Not that one, tilt meter. Because that's a good key indicator of magma intrusion below. If you got earthquake activity, high tilt, right? Looks like we're back on the uptick here over the past 2 days. Inflation, last 30 days continues to show that. Although I don't think, it doesn't look like we're going to get as high as the previous inflation period. This lasted there for about the 6th through the 15th or so for a few days, and then we calmed down for about 2 days. That's been the overall pattern, uptick, inflation, followed by a couple days of deflation, but looks like we're continuing to go back up. Now, whether we're going to go above the previous level, that'll be interesting to see if it does or not. But definitely need to watch earthquake activity. And these tilt meters here. Let me bring up seismograph station around the area. This here kind of looks like magma or some type of fluid movement going on there across this area. Let me go back here. I want to check something real quick, see what these webcams look like. See if we can spot anything that may be out of the ordinary out there. There's always going to be volcanic gases and whatnot going on, and that's what we're seeing out here. Doesn't look like, obviously, it doesn't look like there's any type of breakthrough in terms of magma reaching the surface there at Kilauea Volcano, but this has just been an ongoing thing, a waiting game here. Similar, well, you know, each of these are, the volcano here in Big Island is different compared to the rift zone volcanic activity in Iceland. Two different scenarios, or not scenarios, but two different volcanic features. Rift zones out here, it's spreading apart of the plates. Over here you got a hot spot, and you can trail the hot spot throughout the eons of ages here as the Pacific Ocean moved towards the northwest. That's the general location, and of course this is a hot spot here with the Big Island, and you can kind of see that. It's crazy. Just thinking here in the future, way in the future, we'll continue to see this island chain form out here. But I don't think we have to worry about that. We do have to worry about volcanic activity, obviously. Lohi Seamount off the shore here looks pretty quiet for now. But we'll continue to watch these. Either way, definitely seen some elevated movement there across Kilauea Volcano today. Further to the west, 4.5, Papua New Guinea. Minimal activity, it looks like, across this region today. One more, yeah, that's a deep earthquake from yesterday. Now, New Zealand did see a little bit of movement last night with a 4.9 off the plate boundary south here of the South Island region. I do want to check them out real quick, see if they got anything kicking up overnight, since that activity was very close to the New Zealand region. The GeoNet servers were reporting this as a 5.2. Not 100% certain if I agree with that, but that's just my own observation there by looking at the seismographs. Speaking of the seismographs here, North Island, a couple smaller earthquakes here, it looks like, over the last 24 hours. There is that supposed 5.2. To me, it looks more like a 4-pointer, as USGS is stating 4.9. But since then, not a whole lot of earthquake activity. It looks like we did have one down here, a smaller one, down around the South Island area of New Zealand. That is just very close to the plate boundary. So we'll keep an eye on that. Looks like maybe that was a 3.2 earthquake down there. I need to bring this back up here a little bit. There we go. Let's see what else we got. A little bit of movement across Iran, 4.9 coming in. Let's go to the USGS map and see what we got here. That is on the plate boundary. Well, EMSC reporting a 4.9, USGS 4.6 earlier this morning, and some activity there in Turkey from yesterday. Still seeing some activity there across Hawaii. It's lighting up like crazy. I will definitely add the a Hawaii station here after this update. Just going to take me a few minutes to add Hawaii and the Iceland stations there. You got to add a couple different networks to access the seismograph stations, the live view. So, all right, we'll just keep an eye on this area of New Zealand, or Iceland, excuse me. I don't know why I consider New Zealand way up there around Iceland. But definitely, that's quite a bit of displacement going on up there with that magma activity below, further deepening, more accumulation of magma definitely coming up here. Now, space weather activity, goodness, look at this massive sunspot region coming around the eastern limb of the sun. There's a couple different active regions out here. And looks like the threat level's gone up slightly. 99% chance for a C flare, M flare at 40, X flare around 5% chance. And this sunspot region here is a couple different sunspot areas, but it's just ginormous in general. With this area right here, plus we got some further complexity building within this sunspot core, and another huge active region coming around the southeastern limb. So we got to keep an eye on 3489. That is kind of rotating in a view here of the Earth-facing side of the sun. And we'll get a better look, more geo-effective activity potential as this comes around and rotates into view as well. I'm hoping that this holds together, or potentially maybe further complexity happens here within this area. It'd be good to get a Earth-directed flare along with a subsequent CME. Can spark up some auroras up there across the higher latitudes, and maybe down here in the States once again. It's always interesting there to see how that affects the conditions here on Earth. So we'll watch definitely watch the sun here throughout the week. No major auroras are in the forecast. Pretty calm across that area for now. Let's see here. Yeah, Kevin's just mentioning the same thing here on this image. I'll definitely keep an eye on that. Okay, Storm Prediction Center here today. We do have a severe weather risk across portions of the south. for tornado potential. It looks like a 10% hatched area around places like Shreveport, Louisiana, Jackson, Mississippi. This whole area in general, if you're located out here today, keep your weather radio on and your eyes and ears on the weather as well, because things are getting kind of real out there. Got a big potential for tornadoes, wind, and hail. Current, let's go check out the activity out there currently, see what's going on with the radar and satellite imagery. We do have some storms firing up right now as we speak. And let's see, where's my warnings box? It looks like just severe thunderstorm warning currently taking place out here in this region. I don't know if we've seen any tornado warnings yet or not from this area. But definitely keep your eyes on the sky today, folks. It's some big time stuff down there for November. All right, I'm going to jump off here. Live stream is up and running. I don't know what happened. It went down. Just got to figure out what's going on here. Weird stuff, but that's right. We'll continue on. Even if it comes down again, we'll bring it right back up. Not an issue. Just a little inconvenience, but not gonna stop me from streaming out here. That's for sure. All right, folks. I'm out of here. Have yourself a good Monday. I got quite a bit of stuff I got to do today. Continue doing, and we'll catch you guys back here a little bit later on tonight, unless something major changes here with Iceland, Hawaii, or any major earthquake activity out here. We'll definitely jump on in here and provide some updates. Have a good one. Enjoy your Monday, and see ya.